But a lot of people have this kind of like hang dog. They kind of look at you. They're looking on their phone or whatever. They've got their AirPods in. It's kind of, the energy is just, they don't even know what planet they're on. I always appreciate the video suggestions, brothers. And one of you sent me a list or a reply in this Reddit forum of very small things that you can do that can increase the perception of your confidence comparatively to other people. Now, some of these I agree with. Some of these I think require a little bit more nuance. I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to go into it right now. So the first one is speaking louder. People started treating me as an outgoing person, which significantly boosted my confidence. Now, whilst I agree with this, I believe the tone and your body language is more important than the volume of what you're saying. Meaning, if you just take this verbatim and increase your volume, irrespective of how you're presenting the information, it can actually come across as quite needy. Meaning, I'm sure you know those individuals in your social group or your greater social group, people who are on the fringes, whereby you can feel the lack of having in their voice. It's almost like a craving for attention. And these individuals are usually loud without any kind of repercussions on that. And it's all dependent on where the sound is coming from. Most people, when they increase the volume, they constrict their airways and their voice the pitch starts to get higher as they're projecting more from their upper chest, clavicle, their neck, and also the nose. It can kind of come across quite nasally. So what you actually have to do is relax, breathe into your belly, breathe into your diaphragm. I believe one of the significant ways I'm able to project my voice quite powerfully is because I do a lot of breath work, I do a lot of meditation, and I know where the sound is coming from. The sound is resonating deeper in my body as opposed to constricting the passages in the upper respiratory airways and in the nose as well. So the tone and the volume is coming from a deeper place in your body when you are trying to grab somebody else's attention, when you're trying to assert yourself as an authority figure. So whilst yes, increasing the volume in which you are speaking is going to increase your confidence, people are going to listen, it is a dangerous tightrope that you walk in relation to coming across as more needy as a consequence of increasing the volume. So that's what I'll say on that. There's some more comments underneath here that draw some interesting minor ways that can increase this perception. Complex Chocolate is saying no and drawing boundaries. Also taking a while to frame the answer or statement properly before speaking instead of starting the statement with the attitude of, let me start and see where this takes me. Really, really good ones. I have a couple additions to make to this. So let's start off with the boundary setting. Now, boundary setting is inherently masculine, right? It's the masculine quality to create order, to create boundaries and rules essentially within your social circle, within your relationships. And you increase your perception of value because your yes has more weight. So think about that. If you're constantly saying yes, people start to perceive you as a yes man and an individual who doesn't have anything better to do, or who never holds a strong opinion of their own. Whereas when you're saying no, when you're drawing boundaries, you don't have to say no, but you don't have to agree with everything people are saying. It means that when you do agree, when you do say yes, that has a lot more weight to it. And it also has a perception of you critically thinking about it, consciously thinking about it, and drawing an intelligent opinion or an intelligent decision predicated on that critical thought. And this is juxtaposed to this individual saying here, just starting a train of thought with no obvious end in mind. I would add to this, taking pauses in your conversation. This is really powerful. Sometimes I even have a tendency to use filler words, ums and ahs and you knows. That's a classic one I do all the time. However, being more conscious of it now, taking the time to pause, consider the next chain of thought. And what's really interesting is if you notice, if you're sensitive, if you're mindful enough to the people in your social circumstance, they will be hanging onto your every word if you are more measured, more composed, and you're not just vomiting this verbal thought pattern constantly. So take more pauses in your conversation, and you'll notice people lean in. They lean in. If your body posture is back like this, you're taking your time to, maybe ruminate, get your next thought, pause. What do you think, Joseph? It's interesting. You can even use your body to convey that you're thinking critically. It's curious what you say. I hadn't really thought about that. Little verbal, non-verbal cues showing that you're actually considering, and then people are anticipating your response. Very, very powerful. Number one, consciously improving posture. I do not slouch and consciously keep my shoulders squared and my chest upright. Within a few months, this became my default posture. This has helped me with my back and neck pain as well. Posture, so powerful in terms of communication, because you've heard of nonverbal communication. Not just keeping the shoulder blades tucked into the back pocket and projecting the chest a little bit more. Make sure the chin is tucked back and keeping the tongue to the roof of the mouth. You'll notice that the tongue is very, very important in posture. If you look at me from like a profile view, just kind of, relaxed here, you've got this forward head posture, right? You push the tongue to the top of the palate and everything follows the direction of the tongue. Push the tongue up against the palate. The chest projects a little bit. You can even supinate the hands on your thighs, which just means you're putting the palms upwards, which rotates the humerus out, draws the shoulder back, the shoulder blades back in here. From this position, just by changing the posture of the tongue and following where it takes you. At work or anywhere, if someone comes to you with a problem, don't immediately jump to find the solution. First, try and understand the depths of the problem, then gather as much data or more data to see if it really needs fixing, and only then try to find a solution. By jumping to find a solution, you can seem like you're trying to prove yourself that you can always solve something. This can also show underconfidence because you feel the need to have a solution to prove that you can have a solution. By not doing so, you project confidence that you can definitely solve it, but will only do so if needed. This also gives you more time to think silently about the solution. I know we as men are very logical and very rational and want to reason to a solution very, very quickly in lieu of a problem. And sometimes this doesn't benefit us, especially if we're talking to women or an individual who's more emotionally sensitive, meaning a very powerful technique you can use is feeling words as opposed to trying to get to the root of the problem. I can understand that might make you feel frustrated. I can understand why that might make you anxious, right? You're using the words that are closely associated. It's called heartfelt forms of communication. And this way you can build a greater rapport with people and they feel you in that way. So it's empathic language. And the result of that is actually the individual has a closer relationship to you, is more likely to give you information pertaining to their feelings, and you just have a greater sensibility in terms of social skills, especially pertaining to intimate relationships in your life or close relationships in terms of family and in terms of friends as well. And when you do this, this can portray you to be more confident and more competent as well. Addition to the above point, don't panic when you're faced with a challenge. Even if you don't know the solution, pretend that you're capable of finding a solution and spend some time understanding the problem. You should be the calming presence in the room that shows confidence in your capabilities and skills. And practical tools you can do to help you, because sometimes this knowledge doesn't always synthesize into a paradigm shift, is deep diaphragmatic breathing. Understand that your breath is intimately tied to your emotional state at that present time. Meaning if somebody is emotionally venting to you, think about how that emotional catharsis is affecting you. Where is your breath? Is your breath high in your chest? Or is it nice and deep? How is the pace of your breath? Is it fast or is it nice and slow? Nice inhalation and exhalation. And if you can calm, it's called a morphic resonance. If you can calm your nervous system, it also has a soothing effect on the other person's nervous system. When you walk, look like you know where you're going. Don't walk aimlessly. I think that's a brilliant piece of advice. Be direct, be assertive. Your body posture and your walking posture, your gait is going to tell a lot of people about your temperament as a man. If you're looking forward, shoulders back, chest high, chin up, tongue to the roof of the palate, and you're moving with purpose, there's a man on his purpose. But if you're aimless, if you're dragging your feet, if you're tripping over your toes, it doesn't portray confidence, does it? Don't be afraid to say, I need some time to think on this, let me get back to you. And also my favorite one, and this is some pieces of information from me, don't feel obligated to have an opinion on everything. Some of my favorite things to say are, I don't really have an opinion on that. It really frustrates people, especially if they're combative and they're trying to, argue the latest social, political thing in the news. We talk about Israel and Palestine at the moment. I don't have an opinion on that, right? Just because I haven't taken the time to maybe formulate one based on the information that's out there. I don't feel obligated to have an opinion on that. It doesn't presently affect my life, so I haven't felt the motivation to do that. And I'm sure many people will say, Joseph, it's your right. You should have an opinion about it. I don't feel obligated to have one at this present circumstance. Of course, as a compassionate man, as a human being, it doesn't sit well with my soul to see the atrocities that are happening out there, but a surface level opinion comparatively to a deeper level socio-political opinion, I just don't have the information yet to make an intelligent decision. And people should be able to accept that and go, okay, I understand. This saves you sharing an opinion from something you've read on Twitter, something that you've read on the news or YouTube, right? And coming across as very kind of ignorant and feeling that you just have to have an opinion for sake of having an opinion. Don't have an opinion if you don't want one. Very, very compelling. I'm curious if there's a couple more. Tropical King saying what has improved my posture was the suitcase carrying exercise, carrying a 45 plate with one hand like a suitcase, getting into correct posture, walk forward, turn around. Really good for balancing the instabilities in the obliques and the sides of the abdominals as well. Excellent. Posture makes you feel more alpha. Yes. I no longer walk in public looking down. I keep my head up and don't look away from somebody who makes eye contact with me. I smile or nod, but I don't look down. And this is a good practical piece of advice that you could start doing today, right now, when you start walking out, is just look at people until they look away, or smile until they smile back, or they look away, right? And this is going to help build up your confidence, especially with new people in your lives as well. Another one, someone has mentioned posture again with a confident smile, is an inner smile, meaning when you're walking in the street and you're looking at somebody, I don't mean you break and show your teeth like this, right? It may be a bit forced, okay? But smile on the inside, put your lips together. You're smiling, but you're not showing your teeth, right? And just relax, okay? I like to call this the inner smile, which is you're not looking at somebody and you're not being combative, but you're just generally kind of embracing their presence, and the effect you want to have on them is just a warm, short interaction, right? So it's just you're smiling with your eyes, gentle, relax your face, teeth slightly together, and a slight flexion in the jaw muscles that kind of warm up that smile. And then the nod, yeah? So it's not breaking out like this. Maybe you want to say, good morning, how are you doing this morning? Good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be is. But a lot of people have this kind of like hangdog. They kind of look at you. They're looking on their phone or whatever. They've got their AirPods in. It's kind of, the energy is just, they don't even know what planet they're on, right? You want to be the confident man that's a kind of just like a short, relaxed, warm encounter, right? Good morning. And where you're speaking from that diaphragm. This is going to be funny to edit. But I hope you can see, these are small changes, And when you start receiving it back, when people going, good morning, Joseph, right? They're not going to know your name, but good morning, sir. Maybe, sir. How that can affect your day. If somebody's embracing you with a warm smile, a little nod, you carry that positive interaction with you to the next person you see on the street, the individual who's serving you over the counter, over the till, if you're in, Tesco, supermarket, whatever the case may be, if you're at the gym, you're coming in with that relaxed, warm presence. Next thing you know, people will associate this kind of warm embrace, acceptance with your presence. And that's how you portray that confidence. Small changes, big results. Not theories, facts. Speak soon.